New False Count Anywhere, part of the podcast. I'm your host, Earnest, Easy Christian. Recording this on Tuesday night, recording about 7:15 p.m. on a Tuesday. Of course, we are joined here every single week by our guy. He is, of course, the host of the Rob G podcast. Also, 1/3 of the mindless wrestling podcast, our guy, Rob the Genius. Rob, what's going on, brother?
Hey, good to be back.
Yeah, man. So, I guess Mania now, mirror now. We're back to, I guess, normal, I guess, somewhat. Although we got PLE coming up in less than 2 weeks, though. So the clock's in there. But I want to get to a negative here in the show today. But I had this thought in my mind the last week or so since WrestleMania, because the vibes coming out of that. I'm not talking about like on screen. I'm talking about off screen, the IWC, and everybody's just complaining about night one, and I know night two was great, but everything the last year. And it got me thinking, actually, last week or so. And look, I'm not sitting there saying I know anything about this. I'm not even speculating. I'm just having thoughts. And people, that's a lot of different wrestling podcasts and different opinions out there. And things right now, the WWE, the honeymoon, where we were 2 years ago this time after WrestleMania 40, everybody's on the high and this new era of Triple H and the post Vince era and all this stuff. I think it's clear right now that at this point, we are now, the honeymoon around Triple H is over. And I'm not saying it's his fault, for the record. But I think he will, look, everything TKO is doing now has little to do with Triple H. Triple H is not making prices, doing this and that. He's booking according to what they give him, whatever parameters or restrictions he has, and whatnot. But they can tell you, TK can tell all they want about this is the most grossing WrestleMania of all time. Fact of the matter is, this WrestleMania was a down in comparison to last year. Same venue last year, same time frame, and yet less for people in seats. And we talk about, we've been on this show last year now, talking about like when will be the pushback from consumers about prices and this and that. And unfortunately, my fear is because of the pushback, because of sales lagging and people not subscribing to ESPN in the same way, I'm sure, and all this stuff, that it's going to be Triple H and not TKO and their business propositions that are going to get the blame here. Or now, Rob, I'm not sitting there saying I know anything definitive here, but is it possible that we are now outside the honeymoon period now, and we could be see the beginning and the end for Triple H if things don't improve?
Okay, we out of the honeymoon? Yes. Now, I've always said from day one that, for people to ease up on how much they were praising him at the very beginning, because I always believed that people were giving him like a whole lot of bonus points for not being Vince, and not even and because people, they were just so happy. People who wanted Vince gone were so happy that he was gone, and Triple H got a lot of bonus points for that, and that's not his fault. But I was a bit wary just about how much he would, at the very beginning, how much he liked to come out there and stick his chest out about everything.
Yeah.
I always believe that, dude, that's going to backfire on you eventually.
I mean, he is by all measures the face of the company right now. Even though he's not the guy running the company, he is the face.
Yes, but well, I mean, when you stick yourself out there like that, there's you got to take the good with the bad. Now, do I think he's in trouble? No. I mean, because here's the thing: to replace him, you have to find somebody who wants to do the job and can do it better.
Right.
And the job is not just booking the show, by the way. He's the main producer, so he produces all the television. He runs, he deals with the talent.
Is he still head
He
of content?
say again.
Is he still head of content also too? Content creator.
Yes, he still yes. So he booked, he's head of content. He books the show. He produces the show. He deals with the wrestlers. He deals with the executive people, and of course, and he goes out there and he goes out there and talks to the sponsors and whatnot also. So I mean, like he does all of those things. Um, and if you're going to replace him, you have to find somebody who wants to do all of those things and can do them and presumably do them better. And um, the only and honestly, so I mean, the only person who I think would actually want to do all of those things and who might be good at it, the only person I can think of is Cody.
Yeah. Be a booker and whatnot. He
But
retires. Yeah.
yeah, but that's not we're talking. That's 10 years from now.
Yeah. He's still a top guy in the company. No one else can do that right now.
10 years from now. Now look. Obviously, look. Vince ran it for 39 years. Triple H is so. I mean, Triple H have to run it for another 35 years to catch up to Vince, and he's not going to do. He's already in his mid 50s, so he's not going to do that
Right.
because he'd be 90 years old. Okay,
Plus
so
plus his
he's
health
not
issues
going
too.
to.
Plus his health issues too. Also recent health issues.
Yeah, see,
Also.
he's
Yeah.
not going to do that. No, he won't be there that long. But do I think? I mean, do I think he could do it until you know another 10 years? Yes, because I mean, who else are you going to get?
Right.
And um, again, there's nobody who wants to do all of those things.
No.
Like Sean's doing a great job in NXT, but he just has to, he does creative stuff and he coaches the kids. He doesn't have to deal with sponsors. He doesn't have to deal with executives. He doesn't have to, he doesn't have to do all the producer stuff. He doesn't have to do all that other stuff. And obviously I don't know Sean, but I get the impression I get is he doesn't want to do all that other stuff.
No.
Because those kids love him to death and he loves the kids down there. And
He's loving NXT. He's very happy doing that. You can
yeah,
tell.
people throwing around, Punk, but I think Punk would love to deal with the wrestlers and maybe do some creative stuff, but I don't think he wants to do all the other stuff either. So, and honestly, the other part, you know, if you want to look for somebody to compare it to, look at Roger Goodell. Look how much we shit on Roger Goodell.
Yeah.
But here's the thing. Here's what what always gets forgotten is that one of Roger Goodell's jobs is to go out there and take bullets for the owners.
And he does. His job is to make money for the owners, and he does that in spades.
Yeah, so his job is to, you know, exactly, help shepherd the league to make more money, and then also to take bullets for the owners. Um, and so in a lot of ways, Triple H takes bullets for TKO, and I'm sure he's smart enough to understand that, and everybody's involved understands that. And also, if you get rid of him, then there's nobody to take the bullets.
Exactly. And I don't know you can find anybody right now. And look, again, I'm not sitting there saying he's under pressure. In fact, I don't think you should get fired. I'm not saying that because I don't think any of this says he's to blame for it at all. But you know how this shit works. TK ain't gonna fight themselves. You know what I'm saying? They're not gonna fight themselves. They're gonna try to find the problem. Okay, well, we're not selling this out. This is not going this way. Okay, well, the product must suck now. So who's running the product? Triple H. Boom. There you go. Even though you know damn well the problem isn't Triple H. The problem is the fact that you are pricing out your wrestling audience. We keep saying this shit over and over again. You guys refuse to listen to what we're talking about now. Okay, and now you're starting to see pushback now. Okay, but the reality is though, they will someone is going to probably pay for that. And again, not saying I heard anything, any rumors and that, but I think it's clear that where we were 2 years ago after WrestleMania 40, we're in a high, and this is the new Triple H era. And they made it clear saying that we are. It is clear the honeymoon's over now. It is clear.
Well, yeah, but those of us who do the most talking about this stuff should have known better. I
Yeah,
mean, you should have known. I mean, because we're all, those of us who talk the most about this stuff and who write and who do podcasts and everything, we're all over 30 years old.
yeah,
We've all been watching this stuff for a while.
right,
Uh,
exactly. Yeah,
we should we should know better than to believe that WrestleMania 40 was going to be forever. All right.
yeah,
If you're look, if you write about this or if you do a podcast about pro wrestling and you believed that, then that's your own fault. Okay. I mean,
yeah,
it's no different than when, it's no different when political parties start talking about permanent majority.
yeah.
Like it's that is utterly delusional to think to believe that. Um, so that was never going to last. Um, and look, I have my criticisms of him as a booker and a creative person, but um, I don't, getting rid of him would make things worse. I think because I mean, it's just like when you start firing coaches, right? Once you establish a pattern that you're going, firing coaches, it doesn't make things better. And like, honestly, I don't think he's in any trouble. I think that's.
No, I don't think so either. But I'm
I
just
mean,
saying
look,
though, if this
obviously
continue,
anything.
go ahead. You gonna say?
Obviously, anything can happen.
Mm-hmm.
So, but and then you never say never. But I don't think he because if you, I mean, we talk about trouble moving tickets, and it's very clear what the problem. I mean, the cause was the price and the location, right? I mean, they cost too damn much, and they were going back to the same city 2 years in a row,
Yeah,
and
after pulling the rug from one other city. Yep.
people didn't like going to Vegas the first time. So you know, so going back there 2 years in a row, I mean, um, and again, I think nobody can manage all of all of the aspects of what Triple H does. Nobody, the only person I think who can, again, who could one day do that is Cody.
Yeah,
Um,
and we're still minimum 5 years. Minimum 5 years.
yeah, I mean, unless, yeah, I mean, yeah, exactly. So minimum. So, it's I
When,
just
when mm-hmm.
and I would and just I wouldn't wish for it either. I'm not, I mean, look, I got my criticisms of his of how he handles a lot of things creatively, but I mean, given the options, no, I would not want him gone. Um,
No, of course not. No, no, no. And I know when I say, I remember a couple times I said, well, I kind of miss Vince. It isn't because I miss Vince the booker. I miss Vince the owner who was self aware enough to know the wrestling audience. That's where I miss Vince. Like Vince the booker is hit or miss because again, I'm not gonna sit there and have his history because I know there's a lot of things Vince did through the years booking wise that were like, what the fuck are you doing? That makes no fucking sense. Okay, but where I miss Vince more than anything else is he knew his audience. Vince would never have done what he did. Vince never would have moved that shit back to Vegas 2 years in a row like that. And not so much 2 years in a row, but the way they did it.
yeah,
That doesn't happen under his watch. I guarantee that.
I don't think so. Look, he may not go in there the first time. I mean,
Yeah.
so, but yeah, I mean, it's because it's funny, like when there are things that, in hindsight, there are things that Vince was more had a better instinct for than,
Yeah.
and and I think when people say, look, nobody, because when you start talking about that and people are like, oh, you want the nasty old man to come back? No,
No, of course not.
Just no. But there were some things he had a better instinct for than you know than Triple H.
Yeah,
Um, it's and like you said, one is knowing the audience now, and the other thing is, well, one, I mean, in terms of when I say knowing his audience, in terms of pricing, and he understood the value of having shows for families. Um, and TKO does not seem to get that. Um, and well, they seem to not care.
yeah,
I think they think that they'll just well, because Shapiro even talked about, well, we know if we do this, we're going to lose some people. I think he seems to think that they'll just whoever they lose, they'll just replace with new people, fans.
yeah,
And that's just not how pro wrestling works.
yeah,
I mean, you get you get into it as a kid, and then you get a little bit older, you leave it alone for a while, and then you come back if you're still
yeah.
if you're still interested.
You and I are big examples of that.
Yeah, I mean, most wrestling fans our age or older. That's what it is. Like, you
Hmm.
start as a kid, you get a little too old for it, or whatever, and then, but if you still love it deep down inside, then you reach a certain age where you don't give a shit if people think you're silly for watching pro wrestling, and you get back into it. Um, and when you price out families, you're essentially killing what starts people off as wrestling fans. Because if you can't go, and then also now, and then $30 a month for ESPN. I mean, when you start just pricing people out, then um. So look, I mean, it's very possible, and I've seen some people suggest this that TKO may sell it before may not keep it in perpetuity. Um, either because I mean, right? Because they're trying right now. They're trying to corner the market on all like combat sports
Combat
because
sports, right? Yep.
they started this boxing thing now. Of course, they on UFC right now. They're trying to corner the market on combat sports. Um, but they may sell off WWE one day. Who knows? But right now, like I don't think Triple H is in any trouble because again, who you gonna replace him with? And also, if you get rid of him, then there's nobody for us to be mad at except for TKO.
Yeah.
And you know, so they need him. And I mean, and then, again, in the grand scheme of things, again, I have my criticisms with some of his creative decisions, yes, but I mean, in the grand scheme of things, I mean, he's still not. I mean, I wouldn't call what he's doing bad. He's not overall doing a bad job at all.
No, I think that's overall doing a decent job. I think he's doing a
Yeah,
decent job of the part.
I
The
would
criticisms,
say
yes, but he's not bang 1,000.
no. I mean, in one episode of a Mindless Wrestling podcast, I equated him to Mike Tomlin. I mean,
Okay,
which I mean, you finish with a winning record and you make the playoffs every year.
okay, and I'm okay with that. Maybe ask any Browns fan. Ask any Browns fan that they would take that every day of the week. Okay,
Yeah,
and it's any Cardinals fan that'll take that any day of the week. Be
look, I
relevant.
take it. I mean, given the way the past 30 years been around here, I'd take it.
Oh, here we go. Watch the Commanders. Here we go. Same thing. Yeah.
But um, and now I should add that if you give Mike Tomlin a Super Bowl winning roster, he will win the Super Bowl
Mm.
because he did. Um, so you know when you so now like you see, I mean, Roman Reigns is the world champion again, and you have guys like Omafemi now on the rise and whatnot.
Yeah.
So when um, I think he'll be fine. Um, yeah, I mean the whole thing is the whole key is to not panic, and because again this is a very unique job. Like they're 32 NFL coaches, so you have to get you know obviously so there just has to be a bigger pool of people because you have 32 jobs. This is one position, and there aren't a lot of people who have the wherewithal to do this job, and it's not like you don't have 15 candidates out there to do this. Pro wrestling is a very unique job. It's a very unique thing.
Sure is.
So unless you have somebody lined up who can do this, you know, very unique thing, then
And newsflash, you don't, because who are you going to
you
go
don't.
to? You're going to go to fucking what? Bruce Pritchard, the old school guys. We
No,
know better.
exactly. And
That's what you got there. You have Bruce Pritchard, and you probably could call up some older. Come on, dude. Hunter has the best pulse right now on the business right now of anybody going, any
yeah,
promoter.
yes. I mean, again, there's nobody else out there.
Yeah,
Because again, like all the guys who are available again are old, like Pritchard and Michael Hayes and
yeah,
Jarrett. I mean, please, and yeah. So no, it's just
yeah. I
it's
agree.
a bunch of talk.
Yeah, I'm with you, man. I'm with you. So we're still a week away, week and a half away from Backlash. Obviously, we're going to preview that on the next time we're on the podcast next week. Um, are you the only build I'm really invested in right now currently is the Jacob Fatu Roman Reigns build? Are you enjoying that so far? That the build of that?
yeah. And man, last night, look, Jacob brought back the tongue and death grip.
You did. I saw that. I saw that.
Oh man, and look,
I saw that.
that was out of nowhere. Nobody was expecting that either. I
And,
mean,
and much less the Roman too. I'm like, okay, that's
yeah, I mean that was outstanding.
yeah. So I was thinking about this too, also, because look, we've been looking at last couple of years, looking at these new stars that's come down the pike, of course, and Jacob Fatu has had a nice run for the last 2 years, and obviously now he's going to be in the main event of Backlash. It looks like now. I don't know if it's official yet, but we're gonna get that. That's where we're going.
Yes.
So it got me thinking also too about Jacob Fatu, because I always said that we've been saying for years that this guy would be a main event guy down the road. Okay, now you're now wrestling Roman likely next week. So we are now down the road, I guess now. Um, and yet I'm still on the fence if like he's still a main event guy now. Like I do expect to be a main event guy down the road. I just don't know if I'm there yet as him being a main event guy. Look, I'm not against him trying this now. Cause look, you gotta start right. You gotta start putting these stars in places now to succeed. Okay, and this is the best spot for Roman right now. For Fauci at this point now is in program Roman. Okay, whether he wins the match or not is at the point. Can he be a guy you can market your company under in the years to come? I'm on the fence still because Fatu's still a little bit of a different bird. You know what I mean? But he's unique as shit. You know what I mean? So I'm two sides this one, but I guess my question is my long-winded intro here before I bring Win is Jacob Fatu, in your opinion, a main event guy in the future, or do you think he's ready to be a main event guy now?
Well, okay. I think in the grand scheme of things, he's a guy he'll be a guy you can put in main event matches.
Right.
Um, he's a little too rough around the edges to be doing the Cody stuff. Okay, you know,
Right. That's exactly my point.
he's not going to be that guy. He's not, or like he's not going to be the guy meeting sponsors and everything, right? He's not going to be that guy. But I mean, he's a guy you can put in main event matches. I mean, he can be, like Batista, or they put Batista in main event matches. Or
Warrior.
well, yeah, and I think he's more reliable than Warrior. I mean, so.
Oh yeah. Of course. Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, like but yes, he can be Batista. He can be, he can definitely be somebody like that. And now we'll find out. Now this is a big test because this is a one-on-one match in the main event. So that's a whole different deal. And look, and I was looking at back at the like recent history of like the Backlash Premium Live event, and there are a lot of people who got their first. I saw 5 people who since the brand split the brand split happened in 2016. 5 people who got their like first big title shot on this pay-per-view. Um, and one was Alexa Bliss in 2016,
Mm-hmm.
Jinder Mahal in 2017,
Mm-hmm.
um, and Cesaro in 2021.
I was gonna say that Cesaro got one too, also.
Yeah, in 2021. There was Tiffany Stratton was in a triple threat women's title match in 2024, and there's one more, and of course I can't remember it now. 26, 2017, January, wasn't it like 2018, 2019? Uh,
But 2020 obviously was a COVID one. You don't want to use that one.
no, it was 23. Yeah. So, so that's five people. Alexa, Jinder Mahal, EO, Cesaro, and they're five of them. Okay,
I think he's much more marketable. I think he's much more. He's better than Sol Sokoa. I'll say that much.
yeah. Oh, yes, definitely. Yeah, definitely.
So he's
And
definitely marketable to some degree, but is what audience? Because I don't think he's a Cody type of guy or Cena
oh
kind of
no,
guy.
no, he's not. No,
Right.
no. I mean, he's like again, he's for people like if you were a big fan of Batista or he's in that vein. Except
Yeah.
he's a better wrestler than Batista was.
No wild question. Yeah.
He can do more things for sure. But
I,
well,
I guess I, I
this
guess
is
the
a
question
big
is,
test
yeah. Do you think he's
to
ready? Do
see.
you think he's
Yeah.
ready for this spot?
Well, we're going to find out. That's one of the fun things. We are going to find out. And because he is going to be in there with Roman, uh, and so now he's got to first of all he's going to have to pass the eye test. When he's actually standing across from the ring from Roman in a match. Will he look? Will he look like an equal, or will he look like somebody who belongs there? Um, this is a big test, and if he passes it, look, he's not winning this. Obviously,
No, I
Roman
don't
just
see that. But there's a
no,
way to there's a way to
no
do
chance
this
that
without.
happens.
Yeah.
Roman just won the title, and trust me, Roman didn't win that title at WrestleMania to lose it 3 weeks later. Okay,
Yeah. No,
um,
definitely.
but this is his big test, and can he show everybody, you know, that he's capable of working this kind of match and standing out in this kind of match? And out of the five people I named, um, four of them eventually won a world title. Alexa Bliss won the SmackDown Women's title a few months later. Jinder Mahal won the world title that night that he got
Yep.
a title shot. Um, and then so Cesaro did not. But
But I tell you, that match with him and Roman that night was great, fantastic,
yeah,
and there was spots there that they made you think that they can take this off take off Roman that night, and it didn't happen obviously, but there was moments in that
yeah, and
match that
then
made you think.
EO in 23, she got her first big shot at Backlash, and she cashed in the briefcase a few months later.
Mm-hmm.
And then Tiffany Stratton, got her first title shot at Backlash 24, and she won the briefcase later that year. So 4 out of 5 people who got their first shot on that pay-per-view went on to win the world championship later. So the odds are in his favor. It all depends on how he does, really.
Yeah.
This is the ball is in his court, and so we'll see.
Are they both working babyface right now?
Yeah, because yeah, I mean, yeah, I mean they haven't turned on anybody, and they're not. They haven't aligned with any bad guys. So for right now, they're just fighting as individuals right now.
I say face, not babyface. Babyface is just clean white meat. Face,
Yeah.
I think more
Uh,
apropos
so
to both
right
these
now,
guys.
yeah. I mean, because neither one of them has turned evil. So
No, not at all. Not at all. But look, it should be. I think it'll be a fun match. See what I'm looking forward to see what Jacob does in this match. I think he has all the potential in the world. He's definitely a crowd favorite. He's really, I've been a fan from day one since I saw him. I'm still like on the fence about now he's a main event guy, but if you're gonna take a chance on him, now's as good time as any, right? He's had that feud with him and Drew was amazing, probably the best feud coming to Mania this year was that feud. And I think that might have actually probably sold Triple H on taking a shot here now on this one. So we'll see how it goes.
and,
Well, obviously, we'll preview. Go ahead. What's you gonna say?
because I mean, I watched him back in see before he came to WWE. Because I watched him in MLW It's one of the
Right.
smaller promotions,
Of course. Of course.
he was their world champion he had a pretty long run as their world champion, and so a lot of people have been really high on him for a long time.
Yeah.
But of course, this is the biggest stage, so
Mm-hmm.
we'll see. It's but this is his it's his time. It's his opportunity, so he's
Cash
got
in.
to show us he can do. He's got to show.
My question is, can this program go a couple months? Like, is this a one off, or can this go a couple months? Does this have legs?
Um, I think I think this is a one-off.
It feels like a
Um,
one off. It feels like okay, let's try this, see if it goes anywhere, and then we can get back to it down the road if it works.
yeah, and then if it goes well, then they can circle back to it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, kind of feels like the same way happened with Jey Uso back in 2020, with that one off match there, and then they came back to it on the road. Yeah, I can see that. All right, before we get you out of here, one last topic for the show. I did forget this one anniversary. Love doing anniversary in the show. We did forget the 5-year anniversary of WrestleMania 37. Obviously, WrestleMania is in the books. I didn't really remember now this year, but we did. I didn't have a chance to touch on this. Of course, this is the first post-COVID WrestleMania, which took place April 9th. Hold on, let's take this come up here real quick. It's taking a long time. What the hell's going on here? Give me 1 second. It's taking too damn long. What the hell? There we go. April 10th and 11th here in Tampa, Florida, at Raymond James Stadium. The attendance for night one is actually technically was the second one, but it's the first 2-night WrestleMania with crowds. Night one, 17,946 attendees. Night two at 18,501 with a combined total of 40,806 people attending this WrestleMania. There were 14 matches total, 7 matches for each night. So night one, remember this, night one, Bobby Lashley with MVP defeats Drew McIntyre to retain WWE Championship by technical submission. You had a tag team turmoil match where Natalya and Tamina won by eliminating the Riot Squad of Liv Morgan and Ruby Riot to receive a tag team title match on night two. This one, I forgot this match actually, bro. Cesaro beat Seth Rollins by pinfall. And of course, I think this is Cesaro when this launched Cesaro to the title match against, as you mentioned earlier, against Roman at the Backlash, of course.
Yes.
You have the AJ Styles and Omos defeats the New Day by pinfall for the Raw Tag Team title. Braun Strowman defeats Shane McMahon by pinfall in a steel cage match. A tag match between Bad Bunny and Damian Priest, who defeat The Miz and John Morrison by pinfall. And then, of course, the biggest match of the weekend for me personally, for the SmackDown Women's title, Bianca Belair defeats Sasha Banks by pinfall for the SmackDown Women's title. Of course, that's the first main event headlined by 2 black wrestlers, 2 females as well, too. A big night. Then you have night 2, Randy Orton defeats The Fiend by pinfall with Alexa Bliss in The Fiend's corner. Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler defeats Natalya and Tamina by submission to retain the tag titles. You had Kevin Owens defeat Sami Zayn with Logan Paul in his corner by pinfall. Sheamus defeats Riddle by pinfall to gain the U.S. title. Yeah, Apollo Crews, who just got released by the WWE this week, actually defeats Big E in a Nigerian drum fight for the IC title. Rhea Ripley defeats Asuka by pinfall for the Raw Women's title. And, of course, the big one, stack them, smash them, pin them. Roman Reigns defeats both Edge and Daniel Bryan by pinfall in a triple threat match for the Universal title. So, memories, Rob, 5 years ago. Obviously, we were all watching. We're all watching real time. I was watching real time.
Yes.
This is my first WrestleMania I watched with crowds in years. Good memories here. Good memories.
Yeah. Now, historically speaking, one thing, a very important footnote is that this was the first time that a black male wrestler successfully defended the world title at WrestleMania. I think
Bobby Lashley.
Yes, because previously, I think The Rock went in twice defending and lost both times at 15
to Austin. Yep.
And other than that, I don't think there was anyone in between.
No.
Defending.
No, not defending. No.
Nope. Because Kofi won it at WrestleMania 35, but
kind of saying right now, bro, I miss Bobby Lashley, bro. I do.
Yeah, I mean, and
Him and MVP together.
They're doing fine in AEW, but they didn't really fit with Hunter. Um,
Yeah,
and like Bobby, MVP, and Shelton Benjamin, like they're Vince guys. I
yeah,
mean, like creatively, they saw eye to eye with Vince. They got along with Vince. Great, all three of them did. Um, and they've been very vocal since that they preferred Vince being in charge of Triple H. So,
yeah. Of course.
um, yeah, look, MVP talks about Triple H the way Bret Hart talks about Vince. Okay.
Yeah, I've seen some of the yeah some of the quotes out there. It's pretty bad. But
Yeah.
I will say this mania as a whole though. I look back like we talk about like great mania runs, like how like people talk like how like WrestleMania 17, 18, 19 is a great run. Of course, WrestleManias, and to me they have a 4 year run here.
Yeah.
This one starts a 4 year run. This
Yeah.
one, which this one then 38, and then 39, and then 40.
Yeah. And which is all more reason another reason to not, you know, be too hard on Triple H here because I mean come on, like after that run, ain't nowhere going down. I mean,
Yeah.
but okay, but now there are a lot of debuts. I mean, or WrestleMania debuts, or and just like this was the first time for well, there's the things. Yeah, this was the first time for Omos.
Yep.
This
Omos debuted here.
WrestleMania. Yeah, this was the WrestleMania debut for Damian Priest and Bad Bunny,
Right.
and for
This is the night Bad Bunny. This is the night I was sold on Bad Bunny. This is the
oh
night.
yeah, and yeah, I mean, and he did a great job,
He did. He sure did.
and this was also, I mean, who else debuted at this WrestleMania? There were several people. There are a few other people I heard, but
I'm looking right now.
and
See what else debuted here. Not Styles, not Tamina, not Talia, obviously.
well, I think I might.
Rhea Ripley. No,
Yeah, it
no,
was
no.
next. Yeah, yes, it was. Yeah,
Was it Rhea? Yeah, Rhea did debut that night. Yeah.
yeah. This was her WrestleMania. No, because she wrestled Charlotte the year before. This was her
Right.
debut.
26. Yeah.
This
We
was
try
her
to forget
main
about that one.
roster debut.
You're right. You're right. You're right.
Um, and look, this was the second WrestleMania main event for both um Edge and Daniel Bryan. So, and the final one for both of them also.
Yes, right. That's right.
Yeah, and this was this the final WrestleMania for Bray? Because
I believe so. I believe
yeah,
so.
'cause he didn't work 37.
He got
Well, he's
released, I
well
think,
37.
that same year
He didn't
or
work.
the year after, and then he came back a year later or whatever. But he never
Yeah,
like got into Mania again.
yeah. So this was the last WrestleMania for Bray Wyatt.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
and
This is a good show, though. It's a very good show.
oh yeah,
I
yes,
enjoyed it.
yes. And if you look at again, they had 14 matches, and I'd say most of them, with the exception of one or two, they were all at the very least they range anywhere from watchable to great, except from with the exception of maybe one or two. Um, and yeah, it's definitely one of the. I think this was the first one that showed they could really do the 2 night thing because the first one was indoors at the PC and
Yeah, that was
it was
done
just very
for reasons, of course.
it was just very weird. The 36 was just weird. It was a weird show. It just had a whole weird vibe for obvious reasons. But this was the first one where they showed they could really pull off 2 nights live because
Hmm.
the year before was taped.
Yep.
So they pulled off 2 nights live, and a few years later, New Japan will start doing the same thing with their biggest show of the year is Wrestle Kingdom, and that's a 2 day thing now.
Hmm.
And and looking obviously they saw it could work. So and so this was really I think this was the WrestleMania that really made the 2 night thing stick because again the year before was such a weird circumstance. You almost have to kind of throw it out really as far as
Yeah.
precedent and all that stuff. But this was the first time, so they showed they could do it. They could sell tickets for both nights. They could handle just from a production standpoint and everything. They could handle doing the whole weekend. Um, So this was really a landmark show. Just I'd say from a company standpoint as a whole. This was really, yeah, I'd say this was really like the start of, you know, kind of a whole new, I won't say new era because Triple H always says new era, right? But
Of
this
course,
was
right?
really like this really was like a starting point of sorts.
Yeah.
Um, you know, because just pulling this off just, you know, showed how many things they could do. And this was also like this was the, the big certification for Roman Reigns because, you know, when he had won the title back again, it was,
Right. This is the first WrestleMania as post Big Dog. This is the head of the table first WrestleMania. Remember, he came back after WrestleMania 36 at SummerSlam. So this is the first Mania of this run, this legendary run, of course. So
yeah. And
yeah.
this is one where he walked in the kind of the controlling position,
Yes, he was.
and where he was like he wasn't trying to, like the previous WrestleManias, he was trying to claim on the position. This was the first time he walked in the kind of boss position.
He did absolutely. And obviously the number speaks for itself. I mean, you would say that 38 was where it really became where Roman became the guy, and pretty much where he saved the company and post COVID and all this stuff. And yeah, absolutely. Wife's calling. Let me get a 1 second, okay?
Okay.
Also, this WrestleMania was the final appearance for Billy Kay as well as Samoa Joe. So I'm seeing this here, looking at all the things here that happened in this WrestleMania. Um, yeah. So it was a good Mania. I mean, it's one of those. I don't tend to watch a lot of these recent ones as often in playback, but I think this one I played a few times because of the obviously because to me the biggest deal the whole weekend for me outside of Roman stack him smash and pin him was this was Bianca Belair's launching pad.
Yes, it was. And now unfortunately there's only been one women's PLE main event since.
Yeah.
And that is, well, that's not, I mean, that's not a black mark on this show, but it's just one of those things. And so I mean, it's a positive for this show that it happened, but also it kind of sucks that it really hasn't happened very much since.
No, I agree. I do agree. It does suck, but hopefully now. And I'm surprised they haven't tried Rhea. I mean, given how over Rhea is, I'm surprised they haven't given her a main event spot. But to be
Um,
honest, her feuds have been shitty. Like, I'm not going
well,
to put Rhea against Jade or in event. No, I'm not doing that.
that's the problem, because um, and that's a thing to criticize Triple H about. Like he promotes her, right? But they haven't booked a feud for her that you know um could warrant. I mean, the only like yeah, I mean, because they weren't put her and Jade, they weren't going to put her and Jade in the main event this year, and
Mm-hmm.
um, her and Charlotte could have main evented night one of 39, but they had no build. They just didn't have any. They had barely had any build for that match. So,
Right.
um, and then the other years, they I mean the other years just her match wasn't going to main event over what they had. Um, but yeah, I mean that's and again comparing. Well, I mean that's another topic for another show, but in terms of how the women's division booked those last few years events versus Hunter. Uh,
I'll file that for content for us next and down the road.
okay, I
That's something you
mean,
should talk about.
um,
But
basically, I mean the short version is, I mean Hunter has pushed a couple of individuals, and but doesn't hasn't really booked a whole lot of great storylines or feuds on the women's side. Vince, for what it was worth, he booked feuds with and he wasn't afraid to put the big names against each other, and to make a whole thing out of it. And Hunter's been lacking in that department on the women's side.
Yeah. Yeah. Also, another big thing too. Last thing here before we get out of here. This is Hulk Hogan was the host of this Mania. Of course, being from Tampa, he got booed again. So, and this is pre him supporting Trump, of course, publicly anyway.
Yeah.
So again, when they keep saying that, well, they don't like me because of my politics. No, they don't like it because of other things you've done in your past. Again, I'm comfortable conversation here, of course, with Hogan. I still gotta watch the documentary, which I probably will watch at some point this week. But there's another thing that stood out for me for this Mania. So, like I said, all in all, this is a Mania worth watching back, of course. This is definitely a top. I would say this is definitely a top third Mania for me all time. Definitely.
Yeah, I'd say it's definitely in the top tier. I'm not, again, I had to sit down and really think about it to figure out exactly where I would put it.
Mm-hmm.
But it's definitely, probably in the top. There's been 42 of them, so I think top 10 is not crazy. Just without thinking too hard
Oh
about it.
yeah, without question. Yeah, definitely. It's definitely top 20 for me. Policy top 15, and then we can conversation top 10 if I really crunch numbers.
Yeah.
So yeah, definitely. All right. Before we get out here, Rob, anything you want to promote? Anything going on with the Robert Genius podcast on Modern Wrestling? What's going on?
So I have to edit the second half of that conversation me, Jason, and Ray had about basketball. But
I started out last night, by the way. I'm almost done with it. The first episode.
And the first, and I looked at the numbers for the listen plays and all that stuff, and it's doing good. So I'm going to let it sit for a little bit longer before I put the next one up there.
Mm-hmm.
And I still have to edit the second half of it.
Okay.
But
it's a long ass conversation. You said about 3 hours, right?
Yeah, we ended up going almost 3 hours, and I didn't. And that was not the intention, but it happened. That's what happened.
You know what? I'll put this up there for you too. Also, I got to get Ray Cash on this show one day.
Oh yeah. I can put you in contact with him.
Yeah, definitely. He's good. He's good. He's good at this podcasting thing. He's definitely good at it. So, but yeah, so you have that going on. Robert Genius Podcast, of course, on any podcast catcher, and of course, I'm on X at EJ7. Once again, Falls Count Anywhere, one of our shorter episodes here. Because it's nothing to talk about right now. Back until we can have away. So we'll obviously come back next week and preview Backlash. And until next week, we'll talk to you guys soon. God bless y'all and see ya.